Hi, what would you do if you're out there flying your drone, enjoying it, and all of a sudden you get a notification on your screen that you have to land your drone immediately? Well, I'm asking you this because I have personally experienced something like this, which wasn't so much of a pleasant experience. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some tips you can implement when you happen to find yourself in such situation. Now, my first tip, which is tip number one, is don't panic. It is very important not for you to panic when you find yourself in this situation. Now, the chances of you not panicking is very low, but you have to try as much as possible to calm yourself down and not to panic. Why shouldn't you panic? Well, when you panic, you don't think right. That is, your brain ceases to function, in the right way. And then, if you're not thinking right, the time or the chance you probably might have been able to, take some prompt action and rest wouldn't be possible, and you might end up crashing your drone though. But this time around, maybe a fatal crash. So it is very important not for you to panic when you find yourself in such situation. Now, my tip number two is try to switch your drone to sports mode and control it if possible. Looking at drones like the Mavic Air 2, that's the controller of them, as well as the Mavic Mini 2 and the rest, it's easier to switch to sports mode. So if your drone is like that, or your drone allows you to easily or quickly switch to sports mode, then try to switch to sports mode and try to control the drone from there. When you switch to sports mode, this allows the drone to move a bit faster than usual. And if you are in sports mode and you are trying to control it, that's moving forward or moving backwards depending on where your drone is, you're able to get it a bit faster towards you. So it is very important to try to switch to sports mode if it is possible in your case, so that you try to control the drone from there, so that maybe you're even able to control it from where it might fall, as compared to leaving it on its own to crash or fall. Now, my tip number three is try to control the gimbal or the camera if possible. That is by moving it to the left, right, up, down, and so on. When you do this, what happens is that since your drone is still recording footage and you try moving the gimbal around, you're able to see what is around within that particular environment. So in my case, when my drone was about crashing, I did this and I was able to locate some houses. So when it was time for me to go out there into the forest or into the bush to look for my drone, I had to watch my footage to be able to pinpoint these places to the locals who were there. They were able to assist me locate the drone. So this is what happens if you are able to move or rotate or move your gimbal around to be able to capture a couple of things, so that once it's time to go look for your drone, it's easier to find it. Now, my next point is download the last footage from the drone if you still have connectivity and if you don't have cache enabled on your phone or your settings. Now, this is very important in the sense that if you lose the last footage from the drone and your drone goes off entirely, this is going to be very difficult to locate the drone. So then try as much as possible to download the last footage from the drone. That is, if you don't have cache enabled on your phone, so that even though your drone falls off somewhere, you still have this last video, which is going to help you to be able to go out there and look for your drone. So this is point number four. Try as much as possible to download the last footage from the drone before it goes off. That is, if you still have connectivity with it. And even if you don't have connectivity, you try to maybe move around a little bit just to see if you can establish connectivity with the drone. Now, let's say your drone has eventually crashed or fallen off somewhere. What should you do? So after you've gotten hold of the last footage, try to watch it to be able to study what really happened, and if possible, locate or look around to see if you can find some of the places it did see or discover once you're rotating the camera around. So when you watch the last footage, you get an idea about how your drone fell or where it fell or crashed, and if you are supposed to go out there to look for it, then you are able to go locate it. So that is my fifth point. Now, my sixth point is try to use the find my drone option, which allows you to it points to the coordinates of last flight of your drone so you're able to get sort of a straight line that leads to that particular region. Now, one thing you need to know or note about the Find My Drone option is that it doesn't give you the exact location of the drone. It gives you location around where the drone might have fallen. Now, in some cases where if the drone might have bumped into a tree and it fell off maybe in a slanted way and the rest, it might not fall to the exact location where the Find My Drone option is going to lead you to. So that is one thing you need to note once you are going to use the option to go locate your drone. Now, my next tip, which is the 7th tip, is in case you've watched your drone, you've used the Find Me option, you've seen or you have an idea of where it has fallen. It's time now to get into, if it's a forest, it's now time to get into the forest to go locate it. One thing you need to do is, it is always important to get assistance of locals if there are any. Now, when you get assistance from the locals, what happens is that since they have an idea of whatever environment you may be in, it's easier for them to locate some maybe trees, some mountains, some stones, some buildings, and so on. And it makes the whole process easier when you're stepping out there to go look for your drone. So try to get assistance from locals if you are stepping out there to go look for your drone. Now, my point number 8 is, if you are going to look for your drone and it's a forest area, it is very important to go with at least a weapon with you. Because it's a forest, you have no idea of what you might come by. Could be wild animals and so on. So then it is very important to carry along a weapon with you, so that once you step in there and you encounter any wild animal and the rest, you are able to use the weapon to defend yourself. So that's very important to also take into consideration once you're going to look for your drone. My next point, which is point number 9, is once you go out there and let's say fortunately you are able to find your drone, don't be quick to turn it on. Get it to safety, or get yourself to safety, and then try to assess it, maybe if it's damaged or not. Just examine it to see if there's nothing really wrong with it, and even if there's something wrong with it, you're able to locate or see what is wrong with it. So don't be quick to turn it on once you find your drone. So there you have it. These are some useful tips that I've personally tried or implemented when I was faced with such a situation, and I was able to handle the situation very well. So the first tip is, don't panic. It's very important not to panic. Then the next tip is, try to switch your drone to sports mode if possible, and then try to control it from there. And then we have our third tip, which is try to move your gimbal around to see or discover places around, so that once your drone falls down and you step out there to look for it, it's easier to watch the footage and then find your drone. So the next tip, which is the 4th tip, is try as much as possible to download the last footage from the drone. That is, if you still have connectivity with the drone before it fell off, try to download the last footage from it. And this is very important if you don't have cache enabled on your device, so that once there's cache enabled, whatever video you may be recording, there is a cache version saved on your phone. But if you don't have that enabled, try as much as possible to download the last footage from the drone before you even think of going out there to look for it. So then after that, you try to watch the last footage you've downloaded from the drone, which is going to give you an idea of where the drone might have fallen. And after that, you try to use the Find My Drone option, which gives you an idea of the region at which your drone might have fallen. So in case you get in there, once you get in there, you know what you should be looking for, because you have the last footage from the drone and you've watched the footage to get an idea. So let's say you use the Find Me option, and this time around you are going to go into the forest. It is very important to get assistance of the locals within that particular region. That is, if it's not somewhere you're familiar with, and they should be able to guide you through to if it's a forest or through to if it's a mountains and so on. So then you're able to easily locate your drone. And of course, once you're stepping into the place to locate your drone, if it's a forest, it is very important to at least go with a weapon, so that whenever you encounter any form of wild activity or wild animals in there, you are able to use this particular weapon to defend yourself. And once you find your drone, don't be quick to turn it on. Try as much as possible to get it to safety. That's the drone as well as yourself to safety, and then examine it first just to see if everything is okay, and try to clean it first before you finally power it on to see if your drone is functioning properly. So there you have it. I'll be sharing with you in a different video how I actually had a crash with my drone by the battery draining entirely and the drone had to just come off. So I'll show you footage of that as well as how I was able to find my drone from there. So thank you very much for watching. In case you are new to this channel, kindly go ahead to hit on the subscribe button, and then don't forget to hit on the bell so that anytime there's a new video you get to see it. And of course, if you have any tips that I might have not mentioned that you have personally tried, kindly share with me in the comment section below and I'll be very glad to read them. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.